This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrak. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, AFCO, Ducket Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you. Good Monday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Yes, it is Monday. This is not day 4. It is day 1. And our good friend Frank Scalish is joining us today for a very special announcement that Frank has for the fans, for everybody out there. And excited about this announcement. And Frank, before we get into the announcement and all that everything, dude, it was SmackDown going on the SLR. Good grief.
Man, you know what? That they could not have timed that more perfectly ever. I mean, ever. And the size of those smallmouth there, I mean, if that doesn't give you chills and have the hair stand up on the back of your neck, nothing will.
Yeah, insane. Matt, what was it, 200 pounds? 200? You could have caught 100 pounds and not even made the cut.
Yeah, guys did that.
On a day, yeah, in total. Weight, Jacob Wheeler set the all-time day 1 record, the all-time overall weight record, and then Justin Lucas caught a 6'13" smallmouth for the biggest smallmouth in BPT history. But simultaneously in this tournament, Frank, I don't know if you watch much of it, but the most and the least strategy all combined into one tournament. Like, it looked super simple what they're doing, but it's, you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I do.
And some of the coolest shots ever, I have to give it the live drone shot it was of Jeff Sprague on day 1. You know, every once in a while you'll get a snapshot of it. I saw it at the Classic in one of their galleries where it was like, oh, they're flipping flooded buckbrush, and then there's 50 photos of the flooded buckbrush, and you're like, oh, I see why it's not just, oh, let's go flip bushes and catch 20 pounds. There was a drone shot of Jeff Sprague going down. You know how that grass kind of stands up on the St. Lawrence? And then, boom, it looks like a tilapia bed, and it's from a drone. And then you see him stop. You see him pitch his bait. This is all from overhead, and you can't see anything. And then, boom, you just see a flash of a 5-pound smallmouth on the side, and you're like, okay, that's how this is going down.
That's so cool, isn't it?
It's interesting.
They could have even put cameras underwater, because when those fish are locked on, they're locked on, and it would have been a feat, but it would have been cool.
Yeah, a lot of flogging going on, Matthew.
Yes. Now, this thing has been around for forever. I mean, the flogger has been around for a long time. It's not like this is the first time the flogger. There is a little bit of an art to it. You've seen guys in the past, actually. I believe it might have been Josh Douglas using like a extra heavy ice fishing rod with his flogger, to where instead of, being all awkward, now it's harder to fight him, but you can actually drop it down. They use that up north all the time. Frank knows all about the floggers. All those guys up north do. It's kind of new. They're just blowing it out. But the thing's been around forever. I was telling you before the show started. It started with a traffic cone with a piece of plexiglass, and then they'd silicone the edge, and that's how you're able to see under the water. Gets rid of the glare. It's basically like going to the aquarium in those clear water fisheries up north.
Yeah.
Hey.
You ever flogged there, Frank?
No, I haven't. I've been flogged as a child, but I have never flogged.
Everybody was using them.
No, not everybody. Brent Ayler was probably the top guy who was not caught flogging on camera. But other than that, yeah.
Have you ever used one, Matt?
No, I've not ever really been in a scenario where it would be super beneficial. The one time that I was telling you that I think it would be is, on Arbuckle, when you do get that 8 to 10 foot visibility, and those fish spawn in 8-9 foot, that's where the big ones spawn, like the 9, 10, 11 pounders. And just to be able to put it down and look in the water and be like, okay, there is one on this, kind of deeper, you can just kind of tell. It's amazing. I mean, I've used one, but never like I've just flogged with other people's.
Guys are running around with $15,000 worth of electronics and locators on their boat, and a $10 item becomes paramount.
But I mean, there's people that are like, oh, this isn't great. Everyone's doing. What the hell do you expect them to do? Like what you think?
What do you mean?
You expect them to miss the cut on principle that they don't want to catch easy to catch bedding smallmouth? One of the people that are complaining about, they'd be doing the same thing if they're there. They'd be doing the exact same thing. It's the best, most efficient way to catch it right now.
Who is griping about it?
Social medias.
Oh, okay. So people
say, oh, this isn't, they're just catching them off beds. Well, hell yeah, they're catching them off beds.
Man, watch your language.
Hell?
Yes.
That wasn't bad.
Jeez.
I'm just saying, what do you expect them to do, by golly?
Don't be silly, dude. Just be professional. That's all I'm asking.
I felt that was professional. I didn't think that was a. Did you feel that was unprofessional, Frank?
It blew right by me.
Don't bring him into this argument. He doesn't have an opinion on this.
I have no opinion.
That's all I ask you to do.
All I'm saying is, if you were in their same situation, and that is obviously the most effective way to catch them, that's how you would catch them too.
Yeah, I mean, you're fishing to feed your family, and you're fishing to win the game. So you gotta put every advantage in your hip pocket that you can.
One more thing, and then we'll let Frank get to his announcement or whatever.
Well, no, we got other stuff
about.
to talk about.
I wish. Yeah. So MLF has introduced, it's got the time you can sign up for the extra deal. It's got the time they caught them, where they caught them, what they caught them on, all these analytics, right?
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to temporarily mark fish, whether it's a dye spot that goes away, a little bit of a fin clip that doesn't affect them, some way to mark fish. That way you would know, has that fish been caught before?
Like a tag? Could you do
Some sort of temporary tag, yes. I think that would be very interesting. Now, I haven't really thought this out. I'm just saying, I think it would be interesting if there is a way to. Like, I've always wanted to do that in a pond. You fish a golf course pond and you go catch 30 for 3 years. Like, how many times are you catching the same fish?
That's a good question. I don't know.
But if there was some sort of little, I don't know, temporary, like a henna tattoo that you could put on the fish's scales.
All these poor fish would come back a completely different color by the end of 2 seasons.
Jeez.
You see what I'm saying?
No, that would be cool. That would be cool. All right. Something went down on Friday. Very, very big news in the bass fishing world. The bowling company is back at it, Frank. Guess what happened?
You're going to tell us.
If you've been under a rock and don't know, the Brunswick Corporation has bought Lowrance.
A lot of money behind that.
All right. I think it was like $1.05 billion purchase that is going to be, $1.05 billion that is going to be finalized later this year. But, Brunswick, they were in the game for a while.
Yes,
Brunswick
they were.
actually owned Zebco and Quantum and all those brands at one time. And actually, I think they were in the boat business. They might still be in the boat business. I don't even remember. But yeah, that situation went down the end of last week, and we're going to see how much money gets poured into this because it's not only Lowrance, it's all the other companies that were involved with Navico, and they're into everything. I mean, they're into radar, they're into airlines, radar, and navigation, and all kinds of stuff. But it is very, very big news in the fishing world, especially in this day and age of the battle that is taking place with what? Forward-facing sonar? And what's the next big thing? And it's going to be interesting to see how that transition takes place in the world of electronics. and how much Brunswick is going to step up to the plate. I think it's kind of cool. You know why I think it's kind of cool?
Because it's bowling related.
That's right. That is right.
That's excellent. I hope it does really good things. I mean, there's always that concern when a company is purchased, is it going to get better? What are they going to change and blah, blah, blah. But, they got to understand that, with Lowrance, their 2D sonar is better than anybody else's. And they're forward facing, or what's that? Forward. Yeah, they're live target.
It's a bait company.
Or active target.
Active target. Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt.
It's live and active. There we go.
That's right. So I mean, there's a lot of advancements that could be made. And Lowrance's waypoint managing system is just superior. I love the management system on that. So
yeah, I got notes on notes on notes and 9 or 10 different types of icons and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's like you're just over there, like chapter 2 down in the notes. You know what I mean? Because you can type it in, but then you can actually go down into notes and type as much as you want about it.
Right,
so when
100%.
you're on an unfamiliar body of water, I found, you're 3 days later and you go past a waypoint and you're like, what was this? Well, then if you click on it and go down to the notes, you realize that on Sunday it was partly cloudy at 11 a.m. and there was a fish next to this stump, and boom, now you're like, okay, I remember that. Jogs the memory.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool about it is that when I was fishing the elites, I had every single lake separated by lake, so my unit would be clear. And then if I was going to Santee, I would get my Santee waypoints out and put them back in the unit. And now with the new HDS touch screens and stuff, you can, if you're on the road and you're like, let's say you're gone and you're fishing a few lakes, and you're gone for a couple weeks and you're fishing a few lakes, you don't have to worry about separating and dumping your unit to keep each lake individual, because they have a system in there that you could outline a lake and save just those waypoints on that lake as that lake, and it'll separate them and put them in a file for you. Then when you get home, you can put them on your computer. It's really amazing. It's really, really amazing. I love that because it's super easy. You don't need any, crazy programs to work it, to do it. It just goes right from the unit to the computer and from the computer to the unit. That's what I really love about Lowrance.
Very nice. All right. And we're getting all kinds of feedback. Yeah, I forgot they own Mercury Marine. They own a bunch of boat companies, a major corporation with a lot of assets, but $1.05 billion was the amount of that transaction. So we'll see if that gets finalized. Obviously, they have to go through all the regulatory and legal stuff that they go through to make this happen. But in all the stories that I saw and the research that I did, this deal is going to get done this year. So
that is a lot of money.
Golly. A lot of money, man. A lot of money. All right. A couple other things real quick, and then we will jump into what Frank is going to talk about today. I want to let everybody know, in case you missed any previous shows where I made the statement, somebody was asking, and a couple of people have asked over the last couple of shows about the interview with the manager of White River Marine. That interview was basically refused or denied.
Declined.
They didn't want to come on and talk about it, so we have moved on. Now, the contact that I have, we're still in numerous conversations about trying to make something happen in the future, but as of today, as of last week, after months of trying to get somebody on this show to talk about the White River Marine situation, they have declined to come on, but we will continue to work and try and get somebody on to talk about their position in the bass fishing world. All right. A couple other things that I want to mention. Dude, I was watching fishing, bowling, women's golf, and men's golf all at the same time yesterday. All right. And oh, by the way, our good friend that was in the studio, Chris Prather, was on television this weekend sporting the Strike King logo on the back of his jersey.
Still sporting it.
Still sporting it.
That's cool.
Yeah. But the thing about his performance, he ended up losing in his semifinal match. But, Frank, it's one of those deals. You have hundreds of games that these guys bowl throughout the year to earn a spot in the PBA finals. Mm-hmm. And then it comes down to one frame. One frame. All right?
You gotta have nerves of steel.
And unfortunately, Chris did not come through with the W, and the guy he lost to ended up going on and winning the whole thing. But I was watching that. I was watching the MLF stuff, the action. I was watching the PGA Tour, the Travelers, and then I was also flipping back and forth and watching the women's major that was on there. A plethora of stuff that was going on, and then watched an incredible NBA game last night. The point I'm trying to make, those three things, golf, fishing, and bowling. You tell me, Frank, out of those three entities, what is the only one that did not have an endemic commercial on during their live broadcast?
You want me to answer that?
Yes.
I'm going to say bowling.
You are correct. And I was totally perplexed by this situation.
Why didn't they?
I made a phone call because I was like, why are these companies not running commercials during the live stuff? Because you watch Major League Fishing, you watch Bassmaster, you watch the PGA, a plethora of golf balls, golf clubs, golf clothing, golf shoes. Everything is on there. And the reason is because of the way that the PBA works with their licensing fees with companies, that the companies spend an enormous amount of money just to get their products, not just bowling balls and shoes, but every product that is used on the PBA Tour has to be licensed by the PBA.
Holy moly.
They would not tell me how much, but it is a six-figure number when it really comes down to it, that advertising on television is very, very expensive. So every single commercial that aired during the live broadcast of the PBA Tour Finals was a non-endemic sponsor.
Now that money is before they have to pay for the airtime, correct? Or is that included?
Well, a lot of times the relationship is a 50-50 revenue split. Like this one wasn't on Fox. This was on CBS Sports.
Gotcha.
So it depends, Frank, what the relationship is on whether or not they do a revenue split. Bass has a revenue split. All right. It is in the best interest of Bass and Fox Sports to sell as many of those commercial spots as they can. You know, maybe the arrangement, I haven't dug deep enough yet, but maybe the arrangement is that the PBA doesn't get any spots to sell. And they're making enough money just on the licensing fee. The point of this matter is, one, it was very bizarre to see golf commercials during a live bowling event. The promotion of golf, people getting out playing the game of golf, a total promotion of the game of golf during bowling. All right? And can you imagine what would happen in the fishing industry if there was a licensing fee on every single piece of equipment that is used on any of the tours that companies would have to pay in order for those products to be eligible during tournament competition?
No, that would be very difficult to do.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on that, Matt?
No, we kind of talked a little bit about that and how interesting that would be in fishing.
It would be very expensive. It costs the manufacturers, including Brunswick. Brunswick spends a lot of money doing that.
I mean, so if you're like, ooh, this fish would eat this bait,
it would have to be on the licensing list.
You literally couldn't use that bait because it wasn't on the licensing list.
Yeah.
So you would have X number of baits you could use.
Yeah.
But there would be no like discontinued secret bait that you could use.
Yeah, Frank, I will say this. The guy that won the bowling tournament, he was using a bowling ball that was 30 years old. Very vintage.
But it was on the list?
Yeah. Yeah, it was made by the company Rotogrid.
So you'd have to go back and like Smithwick would have to pay to have like the old Rogues on the list.
I don't know how that
Yeah,
would work.
see, that would put the beginning tackle companies out of the game.
And then how far do you go? Like terminal tackle, like that's the wrong type of like I said, it's different in bowling than it is in fishing because there's billions of different combinations and things you can use in fishing.
I agree.
I mean, how many? Here's the
weird seeing that.
How many times in bowling though do you watch it and there's something innovative that drives sales in bowling based on a TV show? Like I've never seen that glove or ball or anything before. That doesn't really happen.
No, not that often.
And that's what the fishing companies sponsor the professional anglers for is, I mean, every time you watch it, there's something a little bit new. Like Berkeley's coming out with the Lil General, which is just a chunk of the max scent. Yeah. But I mean, that was like the new thing this week. You know what I mean? Like there's always something new that people are watching to try to get up. Do people watch the bowling TV shows to be like, well, maybe I can increase a couple of pins in the Tuesday Nighter based on something new that I see here? No,
but what it did is it drive the value of that bowling ball that was 30 years old to where if you can get your hands on one of those, if you can find where, the value just skyrocketed. All right.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
That whole industry is based upon performance. Bottom line, all right, where you have a mixture in the bass fishing world. In other words, if you win and you perform and you go out and you bowl 800 on television or whatever, and you win titles, that generates sales. Well, it does that in bass fishing, but there's other characteristics in the industry that take place that sells product. It's not the same. So I don't know. It was just, it was weird seeing that you never had a single endemic sponsor on something like that, but then all of a sudden here's a golf commercial on a bowling thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that you paid attention to because
I look at all that obscure stuff, man. I'm just a weirdo. I'm just a grumpy old man. All right, it is time, and then I have one more thing that we'll get to later, but I want to jump into what we're doing here on day 1, not day 4, to talk about what Frank is going to throw out there for the BTL fans and anybody else, really, if you want the opportunity to get some time with Frank, this is what we're going to talk about. Now, let me preface it by saying this. As a basketball coach and having been a coach for 29 years, you've probably heard me say this statement before on this show. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the locker room that stays in the locker room, that never leaves that locker room. But there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of preparation that takes place in the locker room. And so much of the success that I've had has been based upon what has taken place in the locker room to go out and execute the discussions that have taken place in the locker room has really resulted in a tremendous amount of success for the teams that I've been involved with. That one-on-one time that you get with your team, your players, and the discussions that take place in the locker room is priceless. Because think about it. If you never met with your team, never put a plan together, never continued to build your knowledge base on whatever game or whatever you're trying to accomplish from a competitive standpoint, you're going to be at a disadvantage.
Oh, 100%. You know, the old saying, knowledge is king. There's a reason for that. I mean, it's true. All my kids played high school sports, and I'd spend a lot of time, especially football and baseball, especially. And they've had some fantastic coaches, and they've had some not so fantastic coaches. My one son's football coach, every high school he went to, he turned their football team into a winning team, every single high school he's been to. And so it turned out for this particular coach that he would go to a high school program, and in 4 years they would become champions. And then he would go to the next one and the next one. And he did, a lot of the places were troubled schools, and he got these kids, scholarships and, taught them. This particular guy taught them way more than sports, and he had blood in the game. I mean, he was interested, and he he was absolutely fantastic, and he's still doing it today. And he recently switched schools to a program. The school was hurting. It was in big trouble. And he turned that program around, and they're number one in the division now. And they're getting hundreds of people signing up to try to play football. I mean, this guy is that good. He's crazy.
Nice. So for somebody that is that good, the amount of feedback that we have received, that Frank has received on what Frank has discussed and dove into on day 4, Frank and I both felt that there was a definite opportunity and a need for anglers all across the nation to improve their knowledge base. And I came up and said, dude, if they could get one-on-one time with Frank, that would be just incredibly valuable to increasing your knowledge and getting that locker room knowledge, training, putting together a plan to go out and catch more fish and be more efficient on your practice time, on your tournament time, whatever you want to talk about. All right, you're going to get the opportunity to spend some time with Frank. So without any further ado, there is the logo right there.
Uh-oh. That makes it real.
That's it right there. The Locker Room with Frank Scalish. And we're very excited to give the fans an opportunity to get that additional time, that one-on-one time with Frank, and really continue your education and turn you into, hopefully, much better at the tactics that you're trying to conquer out there on the water.
And you know, and here's part of the reason this thing started to develop. Mark would send me emails that he would get from Bass Zone, and guys had questions, and they were absolutely phenomenal questions that required an immense amount of detail in the answers. I answered almost every single one that I could possibly answer, and the same thing with my DMs from Instagram. What I'm finding is the questions are so good and so well thought out that I can't just text an answer. There's not a, I have to dumb it way down and make it so I can put it in a few paragraphs, which is not really fair because there's a lot of other things that go into these, into this procedure. So we talked about it, and Mark actually, came up with this idea, and it's phenomenal because now what's going to happen is we're going to give the anglers an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation format, just like you're watching right now. The angler on one side, I'll be on the other side, and we can go into extreme detail on any questions that you have. And this is really, like, as Mark said, this is probably first. I mean, this is first. It's not a 150 seat seminar where you're going to talk in generalities. Day 4s are fantastic because I give you basic patterns that I'm figuring out, seasonal patterns, little tackle tips and tricks and stuff like that to help you catch more fish. But let's be honest, there's a million other details out there. I mean, a bass is a bass. Yeah, that's true. Okay. But conditions change. Sometimes they change by the minute. Sometimes each lake has its own little personality. This will give you, the angler, the ability to sit down and go over issues that you're experiencing on lakes where you're at and develop from it. And so I'm really excited about it because, teaching to, when you're fortunate enough to do something that you love to do, you have to give back to some capacity. That makes the circle complete. This is a chance for me to give back, Now it is going to be time consuming, but we're working out all those details right now.
Yeah. Now, obviously, folks, time is money. And in the discussions that Frank and I have had, there's a lot of expense that goes into this from a technology standpoint. There's also expense from taking time away from what Frank is involved with and what I'm involved with. So, yeah, there's going to be a fee but we'll get into the fee here in a little bit. But it is very, very reasonable for the amount of time that you're going to be able to spend with Frank one-on-one. And here's another thing. You're going to be able to keep this. It's not going to be seen by anybody else. It's just you and Frank one-on-one. And then we are going to send you a not a hard copy. I'm really dating myself.
A downloadable link.
We're going to send you a downloadable link to where you can keep the file and the session for your library, and you can refer back to it at any time.
Yeah, which is really sweet because you're going to actually, over the course of time, you're going to be building a video library, which is fantastic because you'll be able to refer back to this pretty much at will. Or let's say we talk about a wind pattern where you're running the wind, okay, and we go through the whole 9 yards. So then let's say later on, you and your team tournament partner have a tournament coming up on Lake X, okay? And they're like, man, what was that wind pattern thing? Well, you can go back and refresh, take the refresher, and it's yours. You own it. You can watch it 1,000 times if you want to. You know what I mean? So it's really cool because you're going to actually be building a bass fishing library, basically.
Yeah. And when Frank and I initially started this conversation about setting this thing up, we felt that it would be most beneficial to the people that continually sent myself to forward to Frank and messages that were being sent to Frank.
Yes.
That people were wanting help. And what a better way to utilize the technology that we have in place, because you could be in your boat, you can be on the water, you can be in your office, you can be at home, you can be wherever you have a good internet connection to be able to get Frank's guidance and instruction on what you need help on. And then you get a copy of it and you get to retain it.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing, too, about this. Over the course of some of the day fours, we've talked about patterns and, lure hacks and little tricks and tips. I'm getting DM'd out of mad of people that are taking these smaller snippets of what I'm talking about out to their lakes, and they're winning tournaments, and they're sending me this stuff. And it's not one or two, it's a ton. The Carolina Rig Show, everybody keeps referring back to the Carolina Rig Show. We literally are bringing this technique back from the dead. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not that this technique died because it didn't work. It just wasn't cool anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so now guys are back to throwing it, and they're slamming fish on this thing.
It's the jorts of bass.
Jorts.
Right here, my son had a tournament this weekend, and they did pretty good. They took 4th place on it, and so he rigged up. I did the Crazy Shad show over spawning fish, largemouth and smallmouth. So here he rigs the Crazy Shad thing up, and he goes out there and throws the Crazy Shad in a Super Spook Junior and takes 4th place in his tournament. And basically that's because, the video I did, the shows I did, he's like, well, yeah, it works. You know what I'm saying? So this is the kind of stuff that one-on-one, we can get into so much more detail than I can on a DM or answering an email. The detail could be as finite as you want to make it, or as broad as you want to make it. So this is an opportunity for anglers that just plain want to learn.
Now, what if you just want a friend and just want to talk about life and nothing about, just call Frank and just chat about.
I don't know what kind of life experiences I can help you with, although I have been through a few.
That's a good idea, man. Very good.
Dr.
All right, let's
Phil.
do this. No. All right, let's do this. I'm going to put this up, and there you have it. That is an actual screenshot.
You built a page.
Yeah.
On the Bass Zone.
Yes.
BassZone.com.
All right. And I will throw this link up, but this page where you can get to the locker room from basszone.com. I will post the link on the instant feedback and on the YouTube comments here shortly. But it goes in and explains the entire process. The important part on this page is how it works. And these bullet points kind of describe on how it works. First, you're going to sign up using this form that we'll go over here in a minute. You just click on that, and that takes you right to the form. And what this is initially is to see how many participants there are, because this is something that we have to schedule out. We have to make sure that the technology is in place and that the connectivity where you want to have your one-on-one in the locker room with Frank, the technology is going to work and the connectivity is going to work. So once you fill out the form, we will reach out to you. I will contact you, make sure the technology is good to go. And then once we have it scheduled, everybody's going to get an invoice. You have to have a PayPal account because we're going to run this through PayPal. All right. Then I will send you and email you a PayPal invoice, and then you run it through PayPal. And then once we've received payment, we have you scheduled, you'll be good to go. Then once your one-on-one session in the locker room with Frank is complete, I will then send you a link to actually download the file of your one-on-one in the locker room to add to your library and continue building your knowledge base via the locker room.
That's similar. Can we request what Frank wears during your locker room sessions?
You're taking this to a whole nother level, huh?
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're doing. Okay. For the first 25 anglers to sign up, we're going to give you a reduced rate of $150 for an hour with Frank one-on-one live in the locker room. And here's the other thing we're going to do. All right. And people do this more than anything when it comes to tournament fishing. They fish team tournaments. So 100%. If you and your partner want to do this, it ends up being $75 a piece for you and your team, your team partner to sit in on a session with Frank in the locker room. So for $75, you're going to get an enormous amount of knowledge and really get some detailed answers to whatever questions you have on whatever technique on a guy that's been doing it forever and has just a wealth of knowledge that he is willing to pass on to you guys. And hopefully the plan is to make you better anglers. So,
yeah, and the team concept is fantastic because, there is total strategy to team tournament fishing.
Yeah.
100% total strategy. So having the both of you there at the same time really lends itself well to a really good locker room experience, because you both will be able to throw back questions and ideas back and forth. And I think it'll just and here, look, team tournament trails are the most popular across the country. Is team trails.
Yeah. Now listen, folks, some people are saying, wow, $150. Listen, there are other platforms out there, but it's all pre-recorded, and you don't have that one-on-one connectivity and engagement to be able to ask specific questions about a specific pattern, technique, whatever the case is, that you really don't get with other situations.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of this thing.
This is geared directly for you guys to be as personal as it can possibly get. I used to do seminars all over the country, and you got an auditorium filled with 250 people, and all you could talk about is basics. I even noticed in my seminars, sometimes I would sit there and go, if anybody has any questions, stay after the seminar, and then nobody would leave. and then I would be like, holy smokes, I can't monopolize this auditorium for another 5 hours.
Yeah. So
this has been a long time developing, and like I said, nobody's doing it like this. And I'm really actually kind of excited about it. The questions that I'm getting from you guys are astronomical. They're really good questions that require very detailed answers. I mean, you can only dumb it down so much before it doesn't work anymore. You have to the devil's in the details. You have to have the details.
Yeah.
So this is the only way that we saw possible to lay this out.
Look, this is dirt cheap for one-on-one time. It really is. And if you can't see the advantage and really how this is going to help you in your success on the water, then maybe you got something else out there. But the wealth of knowledge that is communicated every time we have day 4 on Thursdays, think about it. You're getting all that knowledge for free. You want to get more detailed? You want specifics? You want responses from Frank? That's why we have the locker room. Bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, I get questions on my DMs that can't possibly be answered with another message. I have guys asking me all the time, please call me, please call me, please call me. I mean, it's that detailed. I mean, this is the real deal. I'm not going to give you waypoints, but I am surely going to tell you
$150.
Yeah, waypoints. This is
Frank
not
gives
about
you
blue dot.
historic waypoints on Lake
Yeah.
Erie.
No, this isn't
Glacial deposits.
No, but I'm not going to give you waypoints, but I will absolutely tell you how to fish certain fisheries. If those are your questions, then you're going to get the answers. I mean, that's what this is about.
I've had some conversations with Frank about stuff that's upcoming and stuff, and he helps put it in a different perspective. Like, it definitely helps perspective-wise to talk. I mean, I've had the opportunity with what I've done for my entire career to have amazing amounts of conversations with guys, and I will tell you, as I have branched out and, Fish Opens and Toyota Series and nation events all over the country, there's stuff that 2, 3, 4 years later that'll pop into your head and go, well, I remember this with Dean Rojas, or that with Skeet Reese, or this with Mike Iaconelli, and it kind of clicks and makes sense. Now, obviously, just because you have a conversation with Frank, you're not going to go out and blast him every time for the rest of your life, but it gives you, here's the way I would look at it. The whole thing are pieces to the puzzle, and this helps organize your puzzle pieces so
Absolutely.
like, hey, I'm dealing with an edge here, or I'm dealing with a middle, or this is part of the flower that I haven't been able to put together, and that's where you can't ever replicate time on the water, but what you do off the water makes your time on the water more productive. You can spend all the time on the water you want. If you're doing stuff that's not productive, you're not learning. So the way I look at it is education, BTL, doing stuff with Frank, Throw Bass University, all that stuff helps you be more productive on the water when you do have that time. So you're actually learning and not just out there doing stuff.
Absolutely. And this is for the beginner as well as the seasoned angler. It's not just a beginning thing. This is for all stages of anglers.
Yeah.
I preach this to my sons all the time. Time on the water is the best thing you can do for yourself. But if you spend time on the water and you get lost in certain areas doing certain techniques or certain patterns, you need to start researching. As a kid, I researched every lake I ever went on to, because every lake has certain little nuances, certain little things about it. And that's where you see guys start to escalate. As guys start to figure stuff out, their learning curve starts to go like this instead of like this. It's going up on an upswing, and they're going to be better anglers because of it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to throw up the link. It is not a linked page right now on basshome.com, but it is a live page. So when I throw the link on the YouTube comments and on the instant feedback, you're going to be able to go in there and actually sign up. So when you do go to this page, click on the blue banner right there, and it will take you to a form that you fill out, and then we'll be in touch with you. It's very, very easy, very self-explanatory. First name, last name, email, phone number, address. Do you currently have a PayPal account? And then this is important. We want to know what the best day of the week and the best time would be during the week for you to have your session with Frank. And then if you want to post any additional information for us, you can do it in that box right there. Just click here to submit your info. And then the form gets routed to Frank and myself, and we'll reach out to you, and we will get you scheduled for the locker room with Frank Scalish. So,
Yeah, and this could be after hours too, after working hours. It doesn't have to be during the day. After working hours, even some weekends. So make it for your convenience, and remember the sign up, the first bullet point in there to sign up. That's so we can get a gauge on how many people there are, and we can start scheduling all this time, because it's going to be it's very logistical how we have to schedule everything.
Matt, anything else? Any
No,
other stuff?
I'm excited for it. Our secret guest is now completely prepared for his next day of fishing.
Oh, no.
He's been furiously rigging tackle for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah. Let's bring him in now.
Does Uncle Frank know who this is?
No, he has no idea. We have a special guest.
It's a secret guest.
Oh, no.
Frank
I
Scalish.
can't imagine.
Jonathan, how you doing, man?
What's up?
How about that,
Dude?
Frank? Your good friend JVD right there.
Look, I'd take Uncle Frank as a personal coach any day of the week.
Dude, look at that, man. You crashed him. You crashed him down there, dude.
We're having a good tournament so far, just been rigging my tackle, listening in, and, excited to get back out there, honestly.
What you guys haven't seen is JVD has been in the queue. I've watched him tie up 7 drop shots over the past 19 minutes. He's got more spinning rods rigged than Ike and Ellie has rods and reels right now.
Dude, is it a freak show? Is it a freak show over there?
This is the most incredible fishery on the planet, I think. I've spent a lot of years up here, and I know Frank has too, and it's just gotten so much better over the years. And man, they're so big, and everything's super healthy. A lot more people fishing than I ever remember. Of course, with Canada closed, kind of makes it so you have to fish, the New York side. But man, this place it's absolutely incredible.
I'm actually jealous, dude.
Well, Frank, I called Jonathan last night, and I said, hey, it would be really cool if you could come on. Frank's got this big announcement, and you absolutely smashed him on your day 2. You had, what, 77? Is that right?
Yeah.
77 pounds?
78, I guess. 77.15 is what it was, what the total was.
Wow, that's just crazy. And I thought it'd be cool to have you on, because I know you guys go way back, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the first time I met Frank, I was, 19, 18 years old? Well, actually, it's before that, because it's when we traveled.
It was before that.
I fished as a co-angler back when the Elite Series had co-anglers, and traveled with Uncle Kevin. And we fished Champlain and Oneida and some of those places. And I think I was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's true, you guys walked into an Italian restaurant and Frank was sitting in the back corner with his back against the wall looking towards the front door.
Yeah.
I said, young Johnny, come back to Uncle Frank's table.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, JVD. Now, I'm looking at this, and I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to some of the guys in this group, and I know how the random groups are in the A's and B's, but you guys got like murderers row in Group A. Not that the guys in today don't know how to smallmouth fish, but listen to this. Jacob Wheeler, Brent Ayler, Justin Lucas, you, Josh Bertrand, Cody Meyer, Adrian Avina, Jordan Lee, Kevin VanDam, Roy Hawk. That's just out of the 40. Like, if I'm Cliff Crochet sitting there and I'm like, holy cow, I've caught 7 smallmouth in the 50 times I've been here before, and I just caught 76 pounds of smallmouth, and all these guys were in my group. Like, you guys had an insane group in A just to even make it through the qualifying rounds.
Yeah, it is. Our group is super, super tough up here. And, man, some of those guys, that obviously everyone's just pretty much wrecking and caving their heads in. So it's been tough. It's tough to keep pace. I'm making a 75-mile run. So, most of those guys get about a half hour to 40-minute head start on me by the time I get to where I'm going. But, man, it's just been, a couple of the guys have said some things. They're like, man, I think Crete was one of them. He was saying like, dude, look at the group, look at our group versus the other, the other group, and not that the other guys can't catch them, but man, he's like, dude, every dude that's ever caught a smallmouth is in our group.
That's what say. I need to go back on Group A and do total earnings on smallmouth exclusive. Hell, you could even just do the St. Lawrence River total money won on it. And that group of you guys, it's like every top 10 there's been since they started going there, I guess, in modern times, which would have been, 2013, the first time the Elite Series went there. I mean, millions of dollars in earnings on these giant smallmouth.
Well, so you figure all that out, and that's what you're up against to keep staying and making the cuts. You're going through elimination of some solid sticks. I mean, you got to fish your brains out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to take a lot of weight for me to make it through in advance on the next round. I think I'm around the right ones. There's enough of them there. I need it all to go right. It's going to have to be just a bludgeon fest, I'm sure, to make it through the knockout round.
Yeah, you aren't kidding. That's like one of the last Bassmaster events I fished was on Lake Erie, and Jonathan, you won that one, if I remember correctly. You won that one. I took third. I got to sit in the hot seat for a minute, and then of course when you weighed in, I got off the hot seat. Thanks, dude. But I was never. I never have animosity towards somebody that beats you, but I was never so happy fishing a tournament and not winning as that tournament that you won, because that was outstanding, dude. That was outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's kind of one of those things, like, as a bass fishing family, we're all really good friends. You got some guys that you're better friends with, and you just want to see each other succeed. Like, yesterday, Uncle Kevin didn't make the cut, unfortunately, so he's headed back home. But man, I was bummed. I was bummed, and I kind of a little bit surprised, honestly, that he didn't do better than he did. But man, it's just one of those things. Like I said, as a family, you just want to see your friends and your buddies do well. Even if you're doing well and you're going head to head, even if you get beat, you're still excited. Just as excited. For one of your friends to do well.
Yeah, that's what's cool about the sport. That's what's really cool about the sport. And some of the friends that you make in this sport, they're lifelongers. That's how good most of these guys are.
JVD, you got a quick Uncle Frank story that you can tell us?
Oh, God.
I don't know what's the rating on this. Is this a PG show or is it?
No, it's I mean,
based on the first segment, it's a G.
It's not a G. It's PG. Whatever. Jeez. Just use good taste. Good taste.
It's right? Y7.
Yeah.
Well, just let her fly. Don't worry about it.
We've had a lot of good times. We've had a lot of good times over the years. Some of the times that I remember the most are just and not even really fishing related. Just most of the I don't know. I'll call Uncle Frank every shoot like once a month or something, just to shoot and catch up and see what's going on. And he's always telling me about he's out blasting them, filming here, filming there, and he's like, some of the greatest times that we've had together, most of them involve a few cocktails and a beer or two.
No kidding. Like our walleye fest on Oneida.
Would you guys just get lit and catch walleye?
No, they were catching some walleyes before I got down there, and then we had a big fish fry, and
that was
cracked
a fun
open
time for sure.
That was crazy.
I remember that was the first time we went up there.
Yeah.
I got a question. You mentioned about your friends that see them good. In your opinion, we've talked in past shows, JVD, about guys that, so is it harder for southern guys to learn northern fisheries or northern guys to learn southern fisheries? In your opinion, who's a guy out there right now on the BPT or the Elite Series or the Pro Circuit that you feel like has become the best smallmouth angler that when he came on tour really was bad at it?
You stumped him.
Did we lose him? Defreeze?
Hey, we're lucky we have the signal that we have.
That's a good question.
Oh, he heard it.
Yeah.
Nothing like
being
the
a couple guys that have done extremely well.
All right.
He's kind of frozen.
He's moving a little bit. Anyway, Frank,
we're
I thought
losing
you'd
the signal.
enjoy that. Yeah, well, the signal, we're lucky to get him for the time that we had him up there because the cell service is not that great. So,
no, it's
Jonathan,
it's fantastic to see you again, and I'm so glad you're doing good. Just keep it going, man. Just keep the drive alive.
I certainly appreciate it, guys. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a fun couple days, I hope.
All right, we'll be watching. Thanks, Jonathan.
Get him, dude.
There you go. All right. How about that, Frank? I tried to surprise you.
Oh, that was a good surprise. I actually talked to him about a week ago. That was a great surprise. He's such a good dude. We hung out and we've had so much fun on the tournament trail. And he's not kidding. I mean, we would talk about family and everything but fishing sometimes, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And he's a hell of a fisherman. That Lake Erie tournament, I was catching them shallow on burning spinnerbaits on day one, and I made 6 casts and had 23 pounds. And I left. I left the fish because I didn't want to burn them up because I wanted them for 3 days. And so what happened is day 2 got canceled. We had gale warnings and the winds were horrendous and the waves we couldn't even go out. So they canceled day 2. Day 3 came and it just so happened the wind direction blew all my fish out. So I had to run to some deeper stuff that I had to catch them, and I caught them. I didn't catch them as good, but I caught them. And when I left that spot the first day, I literally made 6 casts. And that was it. And I would hook these fish, and there would be 10, 20 coming in with it. And I'd hook a 5-pounder, and there'd be 3 bigger ones with them, and all this nonsense. Well, when I came back in on the second day, I was shooting for the Classic and shooting for Angler of the Year title. All I needed really to win Angler of the Year was 1 bass. So I knew I had Angler of the Year 1 and pretty much had the Classic locked. So I came in and then sat in the chair, while everybody weighed in. And then of course, Jonathon came in and he won the thing, and he was cranking. He was actually catching his on crankbaits, also a shallower pattern than normal that time of year. And, I was ecstatic for him. And, so we were high-fiving each other doing the guy thing. And then KVD calls me and he's like, what happened, man? I said, well, I caught those fish. Whoa. I said, I caught.
Where did that come from, Uncle Frank? Who was that?
Batman, dude. That was my daughter got a kitten, and this thing is like mischievous as everything. I got to keep both eyes open.
You should have shown it. Jeffries is a cat man to the core.
Yeah.
It'll be back. Trust me. I was respooling rods the other day, and she's pouncing on the spools when the spool rotates, when I'm reeling them in. Yeah. She's pouncing on the thing, and then of course with their claws and everything. Now I don't know if she nicked the line, so I got to peel it off and redo it.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, mid-story before Batman. Oh, there's Batman. That's Batman?
See? No, she named it Greta. Don't ask me why.
Greta.
That's a calico.
Yeah.
Frank is holding a cat that looks at any moment it could pounce on him.
We're catfishing. Get out of here. So anyway, so KVD calls me up and he's like, dude, what'd you do? I said, well, I saved them fish. And he goes, you're an idiot. He goes, you couldn't have possibly caught them all, and you probably cost yourself the tournament. He goes, you handed my nephew the win. And I started laughing. I said, well, I didn't think I was handing anybody the win. You know what I mean? I thought I was being smart, but see, KVD taught me something very valuable that day. When you're fishing multiple day tournaments, especially when you're on those kind of fish, these smallmouth that gang up in certain places, you have to go for the gold every day. By holding back, you could be selling yourself out. I saw fish there that I could have caught, that I could have weighed in 27 pounds. I was excited for the next day. You know what I mean? Instead of worrying about the day at hand. So Kevin actually taught me something huge that day. So, not to belabor a point, but no matter what level you are at fishing, you can always learn something from it. Mm-hmm. So it was a very important learning curve.
Kind of along those lines, and that's one of the reasons why I asked JVD that question about who he thinks has become from the South the best northern angler. If you look at today's standings, you'll see a guy who's currently in the top 10 right now is Bobby Lane. I mean, Bobby Lane is a Florida guy like that, and I ran the Pure Fishing Pro staff in 13 and 14. So they went up north, and Bobby never drop shotted in 2013, or maybe once had done it. And I was like, hey, we need to go shoot some stuff. Let's go to Onondaga. And we had some time in between Elite Series events. It was either 13 4, one of those times, because I was still shooting for him. And I got some shots of him frogging and doing punching and doing what he was.
Typical Florida stuff, yeah.
But then Bobby was like, dude, I'm tired of getting my butt kicked doing this stuff. And I know this lake has them. And he started drop shotting. And it was so cool because it was the first time. I'm just there, shooting photos. And, I mean, he's fishing with me because I am, working with the company. It's not like he's like, hey, buddy, let's go drop shot. He didn't really have a choice. In all honesty, I was like, hey, we need to shoot this. He's like, oh, we'll stay an extra day and we'll flip a crawfaddy around. And so, anyway, he starts drop shotting. He probably caught 120, 130. And it was a mixed bag of smallmouth and largemouth on grass edges on that lower end of Onondaga.
And then couldn't put it down.
That's 100%. So then, you go back and you look at, and you're looking at his Bassmaster results here, because by then he'd kind of transitioned from FLW. FLW didn't have a ton of tournaments outside of Champlain on Great Lakes, but the dude goes and he finishes, 18th in Waddington, 16th at St. Clair, 10th in at Muskegon, and you go up and he is just here's a 23rd at the St. Lawrence, a 4th at Sturgeon Bay. And you're talking about Bobby Lane, the gold chain push pull grass punching Floridian guy,
right, but
who has become a force up there. And then you look at what he did at Table Rock with the finesse and the spinning rod. To me, he's the guy who has transformed into someone who is very proficient with that, who a decade ago had no idea how to do it.
Right, he became very well-rounded, but you got to understand something, too. A guy that has intimate knowledge of grass lakes is going to do good up north because most of the lakes have grass in them. And so taking your largemouth grass knowledge and applying it to smallmouth, his knowledge of how the grass beds work is paramount, because smallies will use grass just like largemouth use grass. So to make that transition for him, he already has the confidence that there's grass over here. I know, his confidence in the grass is good. Taking it and reverting it into smallmouth techniques was the thing he had to overcome. He had to pick up a spinning rod and he had to drop shot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he had the knowledge of the environment. Now he had to transfer it into the smallmouth, and he did a great job. Yeah. He did a fantastic job.
I see people saying Christie, but you also have to remember Christie grew up on non-grass lakes like 10 Killer and Table Rock. And so that transition of deep, clear lakes, a little bit of finesse techniques, when he won snapping a tube and stuff up at St. Clair. I mean, that dude has caught a lot of smallmouth and isn't afraid of that kind of deep, clear water stuff. It's different from a guy who's fishing natural lakes and spent 2 decades in the monkey box.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
basically spent 2 days of 2 years of fishing in 4 feet of water or less. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, no, Christie's a pretty good all-around stick himself, and I'm going to give Table Rock credit for that because Table Rock fishes very similar, with the exception of the standing timber, very similar to these northern lakes, and obviously the grass.
It always takes me off when he's like, "Well, I'm on the hunt for that 7-pound smallmouth out of 10 killer," and I'm like, "I just want to catch a 4."
I believe that 10 killer has them.
Well, he's caught him out of there now.
Yeah,
6
I mean,
is multiple.
Right. I mean, I fished 10 killer, and I've caught some gigantic smallmouth out of that place.
Mm-hmm.
That place has them.
Mm-hmm. And Combs has caught him kind of from the beginning. Obviously, you look at Mille Lacs and him cranking, but Combs uses kind of the same power fishing techniques, football jig, big 6XD, things like that when he cranks up there, and has not really struggled up there. Like I'm talking about a guy who came in and was like, true out of the element guy. Yeah. Bobby Lane's he's the true out of the element. Yeah.
I mean,
Matt Herron's another good example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talk about Matt Herron. I used to do a bunch of stuff with him about how he was anti spinning rod, and then how he kind of has changed to become a lot more proficient.
Yeah, but you know,
actually like it.
But here's another thing too. You're talking about guys that are at the top of the pinnacle of the game too. These guys made a living learning, and that's the key. They're not afraid to learn new stuff. They're not afraid to try new stuff. They understand they have to. You have to keep adapting to survive. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thrilled to death to see tournaments from one end of the country to the other. Yeah. Instead of having them all below the Mason-Dixon line. Yep. You know, some of the best fishing on earth is up north. As we're seeing it now, you know, and here, even Chickamauga. I mean, here, think about this. They've stayed off a Chick for a long time before they went back there. And then you go back there, and here Chick's got a ton of grass in it, and you can make a living fishing shallow in that lake. And then, you know, KVD goes out and banks a W out of there on a deep crankbait. So
I have a family hole. Jacob, there is a ton of grass in Amistad. He said Combs is also from a non-grass lake. Amistad isn't one out of the grass very often. I think it's one out of the grass all the time. Outside of those big giant swim bait tournaments.
Conroe have grass on it?
I think it's got like water willow up there. Not that, I mean.
Okay.
That's swim jig country.
Yeah. No, but Amistad has deep, massive, lush hydrilla beds. Had a ton of it back in the day, and then it kind of went away, and now it comes back. But there's grass and all sorts of different type of vegetation on Amistad.
And that's going to actually help the fishery out.
Yeah.
Immensely, because Amistad, when we first went to Amistad the very first time, basically put that map on the lake, became a destination place, and it was getting rattled. I mean, rattled. Like the first time I went to Amistad, I was horrified. There's fish cleaning stations at every boat ramp.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, these guys treat largemouth bass over there like people treat Lake Erie walleye. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just they don't have any aversions to filleting them up. So the grass is going to really help that, because an acre of vegetation could hold way more bass than an acre of any other cover. And so that's just going to help the lake. It's going to make that lake strong again.
I guess I'm just thinking of it recently with like Hanselman and some of the stuff that went down. But yeah. You can do whatever out there. Denny catches the heck out of them out there still.
All right, Frank, let's kind of wrap this up. As far as the locker room, I put the link out there. I'll put the link out there once again when we wrap up the show, and then there will be a logo on the front page of basshone.com that people can click on, and the first 25 people are going to get that great rate, including the rate for you and your team partner. $150 a team, $150 a person. And the comment was made on the YouTube comments, can you upload the video and share it? Well, my comment to that is, Frank, why would you want to? Because you're learning stuff for you and your teammate to get an edge.
Yeah, I mean, this is I mean, if you, I mean, it's personal information for the individual or for the individual team. The best thing to do, guys, is next time, whenever you're out, keep a pad of paper with you. If you run into stuff, start jotting down notes. So if you do sign up for the locker room, you'll have up to date questions that you won't forget. Because a lot of times what happens on the water, by the time you get home and get all your gear ready and you're ready to go out again, you'll forget the questions that you have. So write stuff down, take notes, and then you'll have a whole sheet. You can start rifling them off.
Yeah. Now, did you have any comments? I know we talked before. You had some stuff. Did you want to read anything or do anything?
I mean, I can. Here's an example of one comment I got. It says, Frank, do you do any personal lake breakdowns? I've got a fishing trip on my home lake in Kentucky planned in a couple of weeks. I'm going to need to find them offshore. I've got a few spots to check, but everything just looks the same to me. I've only had a bass boat a couple of years, and he goes on about his wife working and his kids and everything else. And it says, so my days on the water are single digits each year for sure. I just don't have time to become great at dissecting water. I'm more than willing to pay for some of your time to look over Navionic maps for me one night, or jump in on a Zoom or phone call with me to give me some starting points and ideas. I have so many questions. So can you help me narrow them down? That's one. And I've got dozens and dozens just like that. That's kind of what prompted this. And Mark had sent me a bunch from the Bass Zone emails as well. So that's what prompted us to do this. And I hope this is what you guys are looking for. And I hope I can be helpful.
All right. I want to address a comment from Ty. And this is really cool. This is another benefit. And let me just throw this comment out there. It says, no, Mark, I meant upload the GoPro video or something that you're doing out on the water. The cool part about that is when we set up your locker room session, if you do have video that you want Frank to see, you would send that video to me because I'm going to be producing the whole thing. And yes, we can run that video during your one-on-one session, of which you and Frank would see that video at the same time. Can't really get that anywhere else, Frank.
No, that's what this thing is. It is literally one-on-one time. This is like you the angler, you the person that signed up for this, or the team, you get the attention that you need and deserve. This is really unique, and I'm excited about it because it's kind of groundbreaking, really.
Yeah. There's some similarities, that some things are taking place out there, but there's nothing where you're getting this one-on-one on specific topics, specific techniques, to where Frank can answer your questions in real time, and it's only for you. It's not for anybody else. Could be for your team partner. But once again, let me see if I can do this here.
Technology.
Oh yeah. No,
that's what
right,
I'm out.
There it is right there. The locker room. So I'll put the link up once again. The first 25 people that sign up are going to get that introductory rate. There was an issue with the mobile version of it. I got that fixed during the show. So the entire form there should be available on the mobile version. And then once again, you just go down, click on that link right there, take you to the entry form, fill out the information, hit submit, and you will be good to go. All right.
Hey, by the way, thanks for getting Jonathon in. That was a surprise.
Yeah.
I had things narrowed down in my head of who could it be, and who didn't I want it to be. So I'm really glad that you actually got him. I can't believe that he took the time out during that event to do this. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Somebody wants to know, can they do the locker room when they're on the water? Hey, as long as you have a good cell signal and it doesn't interfere with what you're trying to accomplish from what you're trying to get information and learn from Frank, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. You just got to be really careful with your signal, because it would be a shame to get in the middle of something and then have the signal go out.
Yeah.
And then we're left holding the bag because we don't know if we can get you back or if you can come back. So if you are going to be on the water, you have to make sure that you got connection.
Yeah. The cool thing is, though, you can video an element of what you're doing on the water, and then we can air that video during the one-on-one locker room session, and you can dive into what you want Frank's opinion on or guidance on based upon the video that we're showing. So, yes, that is available.
Take notes when you're on the water, because you'll forget.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. All right, one other thing a lot of people wanted to know, are we still having day 4? Yes, we're still having day 4.
Of course we are.
Absolutely.
Day 4 is day 4. I look forward to that every week. I look forward to day 4. It's one of the funnest things I do during the week, obviously, except for fish. But it's a blast. I love day 4. I love you guys. And day 4 will keep on keeping on.
Yeah, so I just posted the link once again, and there will be an icon on the main page of the Bass Zone. Frank, this is going to be good stuff, man. I hope people take advantage of the time, because your time is very valuable, and the knowledge base and what you've been through in this game, both on and off the water, is something that definitely could be passed on, and people can definitely benefit from it if they're trying to be more successful than they currently are in their game. Anything, Matt?
No, I mean, we're seeing record-breaking smallmouth, 45 to 50 fish a day. I just was wondering, while we're on this topic and it's applicable, what is your greatest day ever of smallmouth bass fishing, Frank?
Well, every day I get to catch them is great, but
it's way too politically correct. I mean,
I know.
Just sticks out.
There was some times on Lake Erie where I would literally catch over 100 a day, and it's ridiculous. You're just not ever stopping catching them. You're just not. But some of my most memorable days smallmouth fishing are some of the days where I got on the big ones, where I caught all 6 and 7 pounders. And when I say 7 pounders, some of them were over 7, some of them are 615-ish. Those stand out in my head because they're just brutes. I mean, they're not even real. They're so animalistic, it's crazy. Some of my other good memories are like the first time I experienced actually being able to catch them on table rock was fantastic, because that was a new experience. Never really targeted them on table rock before because they were never a factor, but now they're becoming a factor. So I targeted them and had great success doing it. So some of my best, most endearing smallmouth days were on lakes that I've never seen before, like Champlain. The first time I went to Champlain, I didn't know what to expect. And here I wound up, I think I fished 4 Bassmaster events and 1 FLW on Champlain, and got a check in every single one of them. In fact, all of them but one, I think, were top 10s, 4th, 7th, 2nd, 8th, 7th, something like that. I don't know.
I asked that because I have a parting thought that I've put a lot of thought into, Mark. Do we have Do we have 2 minutes to break it down?
Yeah.
All right. I'll preface this with saying, I'll flat out say the every fish counts deal with this on the St. Lawrence. Not my favorite way to watch a smallmouth bass tournament. I don't think that Justin Lucas's 613 should be equivalent to 2 3.5 pounders. That's exactly the way it is. In fact, 2 and 3.5 pounders are more valuable than Justin Lucas' best ever 613. That being said, you see a lot of guys on Instagram and stuff say, well, they're on beds, you catch them all, blah, blah, blah. It's easy. I want to break this down for you real quick about how impressive this actually is when you objectively look at the numbers. So you have to remember, they do 3 2.5 hour periods. So they're only fishing for 7.5 hours. We'll just take Jacob Wheeler's record-breaking day of 165 pounds, 1 ounces. And I don't know if I've missed this somewhere, if someone has done this or not, but I did this. So we're just going to do some quick calculations, right? So he caught 47 fish, right? So 47, I have a new phone and it actually works. It's amazing. 47 divided by 7.5 equals 6.2 fish an hour. So that's roughly 6 fish an hour.
Mm-hmm.
There are 60 minutes in an hour, the last time I checked, right? So that means he is catching a smallmouth every 10 minutes for the entire 7.5 hours. That's taking out runtime, that's taking out everything. Every single 10 minutes, he's averaging a 3.5 pound smallmouth. Now, you take into account the current on the St. Lawrence River, and I average it. Jacob Wheeler's faster than 95% of these guys. They actually broke it down on that as far as he's using a little bit heavier line, a little bit stiffer rod there, getting the fish in a little bit quicker. But if you're just taking a minute and a half on a 3 pound smallmouth in a mile-an-hour current and landing it and weighing it and re-rigging and going out and doing whatever he's doing to his graph up front after every fish, you are about 3 to 3.5 minutes per fish from the time you hook up to the time you're done and already back in the water. Now that's more for some, less for others on it. So now you're down to 7 minutes. That means roughly every 5 to 7 minutes for 7.5 hours, he is setting the hook while he is fishing.
That's astronomical.
That's some analytics right there.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Wow.
Now, yeah, you can go out and catch him. It is physically hard. It is almost physically impossible to catch more big fish at a faster pace than what he did for the duration of the day. Yeah, you might have had 50, 60, 70, 80 fish days, but you're talking daylight to dark. You're adding in another 5-6 hours of that.
Oh, every bit.
And then when you catch 50, you're saying you caught 75. I mean, this is facts
legit
right here. These are objective stats. So when you take that into account, like I said, is it my favorite thing to watch? No, I mean, Brandon Lester losing the 6-pounder in 2018 that they played 8 or 9 times. Man, that's high drama.
Yeah.
Are there 222 pounds that going into the final day won't matter for Jacob Wheeler? Absolutely. Those fish are now meaningless. Yeah, it got him into the final round. But like I said, I'm not 100% sold on it. But when you look at those numbers, that is incredibly impressive what he's doing. And you can go down that list with Ayler and Lucas and what the other guys are doing, and it all evens out to about the same for those top guys catching them. That's hard to do. I don't care who you are, where you are, when you do it.
Yeah, it's a freak show. It's a Chinese fire drill all day long. And it's hard to keep your composure, and it's hard not to make a mistake because it's fast. It's happening fast, and time is money. In this game, in that format, time is money. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm a fan of your 5 biggest fish, but that doesn't mean that I don't like that other format either, because it has merit and it has strategy, and your strategies are completely different.
And look at the top 10 in that Group A. They're the same guys who dominated the smallmouth tournaments on the 5 fish. Brendan, Justin
100%.
Lucas, JVD, Josh Bertrand, Cody Meyer. I mean,
yeah, 100%. I mean, here, you like that 5 fish thing. Remember that tournament? I think it was Bitters went to show that he had like a 1.2 pound for the win, and he went to show that fish up, and it got out of his hands and bounced back in the water.
Oh yeah,
you guys remember that, Mark?
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's the most iconic moment in bass fishing.
Dude, it cost him the win.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Like, I would have never held that fish out of the live well.
Well, there's the whole story there with the Tim Tucker and all that. It's nuts. And Group B is the same. I'm just about to say. I mean, you've got Brian Thrift and Elam, John Murray, Brett Height, David Walker, Ott. I mean, those guys are smallmouth guys. I mean, Walker almost won the Elite Series there in 2018.
Yeah, there's no slouches in that entire field.
No, but I'm just saying the smallmouth guys are the smallmouth guys, regardless of what it is. Like guys like Frank goes out and catch a smallmouth wherever there's a smallmouth to be caught. Was that a fair breakdown?
Yeah, I like that.
Fair
man.
on that?
That was really good.
Actually, dude, I'm impressed. You're like the Rain Man of statistics.
Well, no, that's Ken Duke. Will always be Ken Duke.
Hey, I just checked, Frank. We already have 6 people.
Oh, good.
In like
good.
15 minutes. So
Perfect.
Better get signed up, folks. So 6 people have already signed up. Hey, which tells me, hey, at least my work, the form is working. I got the technology part. You got the knowledge part. I'll take care of the technology side.
Thank God, because if I had to take care of the technology part, I wouldn't even be on this side of the screen.
All right. Now, Junior is on the live feed, and he's on the comments on the YouTube page. And he wants to know when this thing is going to go down, me and you teaming up against the man to my right.
Oh, Junior. Of course. He's like a little eager beaver now.
Jeez.
Hey, I hear they're eating the topwater on 10 killer. You want to come down?
That's what I want to go wherever it's 112 degrees.
No, we will get this figured out. We will make it happen. It's going to happen in 2021 somehow, some way. And somebody was ragging on me about
2021, not 2020. We're going to do spring of next year?
Well, 2020 is long gone, dude.
Oh, I thought you wanted to do a fall deal, like a late fall deal.
I think you're mistaken your years.
That's my bad. I thought that's what we had talked about in the previous show was late October,
you just
early
called
November.
This guy a statistical genius. He can't even get the year right.
I thought we were going to do late October, early November, where we could get the buzz bite, the buzz bait, the
that's
spook.
the plan.
In
that's
2021.
What year is it?
It is 2021. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Yes, folks.
Oh wow.
You came up with all that statistics on those fish, dude, which was so incredible. The fact that you even figured all that crap out and you forgot it was 2021.
We need to end the show. I need to go eat some crayons.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I want to let people know this, and this is 100% transparent. Somebody said, "Oh, come on, is Mark getting a cut of this?" Honestly, yeah. It's very, very, very small. The vast majority of the revenue that's being generated through this is going to Frank. I'm just on the backside.
And the thing is, without the technology that Mark has, this wouldn't be happening because I don't have the ability to put all this together. The format's going to be just like you see it right now. I mean, it's going to be live. It's going to be one-on-one, and Mark actually will be there during all this, producing it all. He won't necessarily be on the screen, but he'll be producing all this so you guys can have the copy when it's all said and done.
Yeah, yeah. So
it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time.
A lot of time. All right. So yes, Matt, sometime in the fall of 2021, that is going to take place.
Yeah, we're going to definitely do it. I'm looking forward to it. I've never been on that lake before in my life, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting adventure for me to see that.
Yeah. All right. Now, the remainder of the week, this is a special week for me. We have a holiday weekend coming up. There will not be a day 4 this week. We will only have 2 shows. First time since my accident that we're not going to have a day 4 show. But it's a very, very special week for me because it is my attempt to make a comeback in the bowling world. I'm actually going to the DFW area to compete in one of the senior high-level events, not a PBA Tour event, but in this region, probably just a notch below a PBA 50 event. And I'm going to be doing it over the 3 days. And
can we watch it?
We'll see what happens.
Can we watch it?
It is not live streamed.
Are you wearing a jersey?
I am wearing a jersey.
Wait, you're wearing a jersey?
I have to. It's a requirement.
Where's your bowling jersey?
In the closet.
Can Frank and I talk for 30 seconds so you can go get your bowling jersey? I would really like to see your bowling jersey. What does it have on it?
Seriously?
Yeah. Don't you kind of want to see Jeffrey's bowling jersey?
No.
What does it have on it?
It's got, one has, I've got
you have
5
multiple bowling jerseys.
Dude, I'm not wearing the same jersey every single day.
Oh, come on. Everybody loves those stain-filled jerseys, man.
No, that's not happening.
Is it collared, zip up?
One is jersey style. No, 2 are jersey style. The other ones are, the other 3 are collared.
What logos are on there?
I don't have my new jerseys yet.
Oh, you have new jerseys too.
Coming.
He's got the locker room logo in day 4.
No, I do not.
What logos do you have on your jersey?
These jerseys, because now I'm under the Brunswick brand.
How are you under the wait,
I got a deal with
You got a deal?
I got a deal.
Like a 20% off bowling ball deal? Or like a deal.
I am not going to disclose to you what my Brunswick deal is, all right? But yeah, I got a deal.
You're a 20%er in the bowling world, Mark? Unbelievable.
No, I'm not.
That's incredible.
It is a different animal on the bowling side compared to the fishing side.
So it says Brunswick?
Then my New Jerseys will.
What'd your old one say? Do you have a falling
global? No. I just because
Globo Gym? Is that what it was?
No, Global 900 Global. No.
No, but he's getting
with a cobra on it.
Do you really want to see him? I mean,
I really want to see him.
Go get it.
Go get it.
All right.
Get all.
Go get it. There we go. He's gonna have a 30-year-old bowling ball show up at the house.
I mean,
later.
I'm just saying. After the decade plus of Jeffries with the he slammed the door with vigor. After the 30 years plus of Jeffries, our fervent discussion about fishing jerseys, the fact that the man has 5 bowling jerseys and he's competing in it. I mean, if he's not rolling it against Walter Ray Williams Jr., I don't know if he should be jerseyed up.
I just want to know: are they shiny polyester?
That's what we're finding out. That's
like
why I see him.
It's going to be like the jerseys in that movie Kingpin.
Yeah, I picture them being very gaudy. Because did you ever see his rat when he was on tour? Did you ever? Purple and
people
yellow
eater.
And all sorts of crazy stuff.
Table Rock. That's Table Rock shad, man.
He had a avalanche that was wrapped the color of a highlighter.
Perfect, dude. It stands out. 550 nanometers of yellow is the most visible color to the human eye.
Oh, it was visible. And he rolled up and said, "Oh, that's the guy with the." Let's see if he gets it there.
And then you guys have been doing this for 17 years.
Yeah.
so the wrap worked. It drew your attention.
I wait for him to come back before I make sure he didn't take a gainer off of the. Oh, here he comes. Oh my gosh, Mark. That is everything I hoped and dreamed they would be.
All right, here we go, boys. Here we go, boys and girls.
All right. Starting off with jersey number 1 for Mark Jeffries Senior Tour.
No, I only grabbed 4 of them.
I left
See, you have to put your last name or first.
Whoa.
All right.
What we have here is we have a white collared sublimated jersey. Now, it does not say Jeffries in the block lettering like we so often see in the fishing world. It is like a signature, like a Mark Jeffries signature that takes up shoulder blade to shoulder blade.
That's my special
What does that
font.
one say on the front?
Oh, 900 Global.
900
That's what I used
Global.
to be with.
Okay.
All right, but now I'm with Brunswick.
Contract negotiations?
No. There's another one.
Another one with his signature on the front.
Yeah, no collar.
This one is
right.
Collar.
Okay, folks, if you're listening on iTunes but have ever seen it, that is literally what Mark Jeffries wears every day with a blue striped Nike polo, except it is dye sublimated blue stripes.
That's it. And the New Jerseys, what are they?
Blue stripe.
They're striped. So
horizontal.
There you go. There you go.
This one's pretty basic. See?
That one's
black
similar,
and
except we've got some. What is the handprint on the back?
That's the company that you have to have high five.
It has to be a high five?
Yeah.
So, like, if you showed up in a different brand,
well,
like an animal
in this
paintball.
event, no, in this event, you can wear whatever you want. But
so you don't have to wear a jersey?
No, you have to wear a jersey. It can be any company. But the licensing agreement that the PBA has, it has to be a high five jersey.
So you have to wear a sublimated jersey. You couldn't put patches on and show up in that shirt.
If you wear any sublimation, it has to be a high five jersey.
Well, what if you don't wear sublimation?
You can wear a polo shirt with your name on the back and a patch on the sleeve.
And you went with the sublimation.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they're more comfortable.
This is my wild one.
Okay,
How wild is
this your final day? Your KVD red and black
right there.
There you go.
That's good for the iTunes. There's a little bit of off orange, some blue, some black.
But you see what the theme is? It's black, white, blue, and orange. That's it.
Can we get you to put one on?
No.
That's pushing it.
No.
Matt, you just like to do that little push every now and then. You just got to keep poking the bear.
I'm impressed. Listen, folks, I'm impressed. Like I said, if you've listened to the video that's out there, and we were supposed to end the show 30 minutes ago. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
It's all right.
2 months ago, we didn't know if Jeffries would ever be able to fish again. 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Jeffries ever
March
be able to fish
6th
again.
is when it happened.
Legit, serious, traumatic brain injury going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with all this? The fact that he was able to fish 10 killer for 10 hours, the fact that he's getting his jerseys ready to go down to compete at a high level bowling. We didn't think he'd be able to have any balance to walk. Like, he was like, dude, hopefully by next year I'll be able to bowl. So I'm not making fun of you. I'm a little surprised that you have dove head first in this sublimation, but I'm very happy that you're able to put on the clown suit and go bowl 15, 20 games this weekend, and you'll probably be very competitive.
We'll
so
see.
Good luck, Mark. 16
games qualifying, and then they cut to the top 16, and then you bowl 2-game head-to-head match played. I think it's double elimination, but a lot of bowling. And I didn't make the call to really do this until after league last Thursday, and I felt good. Body felt okay. You take that and you combine it with spending 10 hours on the water for the first time by myself, and I felt pretty good after that. Hence, that's why I'm doing this. So, folks, that is why I will be headed to the DFW area to compete and see what happens down in Dallas, and then we'll go from there. So
that's outstanding.
No day 4 show this week. We will be back on schedule next week. Tomorrow, we will have a show. And we have booked, confirmed, Jacob Wheeler's going to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll get his take on the madness that took place on the SLR, talk about his performance, record-setting performance, and get his take on what's going on up at the SLR. All right, Frank, anything else, man?
I'm spent.
Yeah, well, folks, take advantage of this opportunity to get some time with Frank, along with do not miss a single one of the day 4 shows that we have, because it has been really, really cool. You kind of touched on it a little bit, Frank, but to be able to get those emails and the IMs and all the feedback from the fans about what you have been talking about has helped them win or perform at a great level is so cool. And couldn't do it without you, man. So thank you for being a part of BTL and Day 4 and everything else you do.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah. It's been fantastic.
All right. Matthew, tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right.
Get your questions stacked for Wheeler.
I don't know how much he'll answer, but we'll see. But it's pretty cool that he's coming on in the middle of the madness.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So Wheeler tomorrow, folks. And then that will wrap up this week. And we'll see what happens over the weekend down in DFW. Definitely going to.
Good luck, Mark.
Dude, man, I'm feeling pumped. I feel really good about this.
What do they say to bowlers? Roll it good?
No,
they say knock them down.
Knock them down.
Knock them down.
Knock them down.
Yeah, we'll see. Frank, we'll talk to you next week, man. All right, that's it, folks. We're out of here.